On our continuing series of candidate interviews, running for mayor of Shelton, a nonpartisan 4-year term, the incumbent, His Honor, Mayor Gary H. Cronce. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Dale. Good morning, Jeff. Thank
Morning.
you very much for having me in.
Thank you for coming in this morning. We ask this question out of the gate for all the candidates. What's your platform?
My platform is to help the city of Shelton grow sensibly into the future, because our past has been a history of borrowing for the future. And I want to stop borrowing money, and I want to start building that future upon what we borrowed on. And so my platform is I am working diligently to try and save the citizens money. Our biggest obstacle probably that most citizens are faced right now is the water, sewer, and garbage rates, which exceed Seattle's rates. I have been diligently working statewide at different options to try and curb that. So I'm trying to pull back on the borrowing money and moving sensibly forward into the future to try and stop this runaway money that we're putting on the backs of our ratepayers. So I take it seriously.
Gary, why are you running for re-election?
I'm running for re-election to continue to fulfill the campaign promises I made 4 years ago. I have made great strides, and I could give a list of all the things that I feel I've been actively involved in accomplishing, and these are not done yet. And being the young man that I am, I just feel that I made a statement statewide with legislators, department heads from Department of Ecology, Department of Commerce, all these department heads, to the governor. Met with the governor the other day, lieutenant governor, and they know about the financial condition of Shelton. And I'm actively pursuing grant opportunities and ways to help alleviate the pressure on our citizens. And so I'm halfway there. And that's why I'm running. I want to continue the job I started.
Gary, why should the voters select you over your opponent?
Well, because I believe that I made campaign promises 4 years ago, and I believe that I fulfilled my campaign promises, and that I want to do a better job so that our ratepayers and our citizens are truly not having to continue to pay the cost of all the infrastructure that we've done. So, and I'm halfway through it. The main reason I built those relationships with the governor on down, and that I formed the state, it was a statewide coalition, sewer funding coalition. Last week, Association of Washington Cities gave me this right here, and this is an Advocacy All-Star Award. Okay, I was one of 9 people that won this award statewide. Out of cities leadership, over 1,000 people had an opportunity to win that award. And I won this award out of 9 people. And not to brag about myself, but I put a lot of effort into trying to find this grant money for the city, and am still pursuing that they recognized my hard work on a state level. And so I was one of 9 out of a pool of 1,000. So I felt very privileged, honored for that award, and that we have voted, my group, the group of the Coalition of Cities, voted unanimously to continue that work forward. If I wasn't mayor next year, it stops that whole long list of relationships I built from the governor on down to really, really try and alleviate this debt that the city of Shelton has occurred. And I'm not against what any past leaders have done. This is not a statement about them making a mistake. They had no idea the recession would last 10 years. They had no idea that new growth wasn't going to come in and help pay for this. Unfortunately, when the bill is due, the only people we have to get the money from is our ratepayers, and they are screaming enough is enough, and I'm screaming with them. So I'm fighting for the citizens that we've got to find other vehicles, other ways to pay this debt, and that I believe I'm the right person for the job to do that.
Speaking of the citizens again, what would you consider the biggest issue that they're facing when they come up to this election here?
Water, sewer, and garbage bills.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, we try to compare ourselves to Olympia. And in many ways, Olympia does a lot of nice things, and we want to kind of do that. But our finances in the city, our economic base is not in line with Olympia's. In Olympia, they sell the houses for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. In Shelton, we can't get that amount of money. So the argument has been, and there's 2 ways to look at this. One is we put in all of the the fees for someone to come into our city and work to kind of compare it to Olympia. The problem with it is the product doesn't sell for that price. So we've lost all of our builders. We're averaging 2 homes a year for the past 8 years. On a city of 10,000, I don't know many other cities except for a few in the state that are facing that at this point. Other cities are all coming out of it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with putting those fees in, but you have to recognize when a fee is too much and it's not working. And I say it's time to put a moratorium on some of these fees and to encourage builders to come back in and start rejuvenating our neighborhoods, start cleaning up some of these houses, because the number one obstacle is not the recession. The number one obstacle is the fact that we have overpriced. Our policies have overpriced and made it not cost effective for business people to come in and do business inside the city limits of Shelton. That's the same thing I said 4 years ago. And it's actually the same thing I said 8 years ago. I am consistent on this, and I'm working to try and bring more businesses and revitalize the city and start fixing these neighborhoods up. We need builders to come back to town, and we got to give them an incentive to do that.
Running for re-election for the mayor of Shelton, a 4-year nonpartisan position, the incumbent, Gary H. Cronce. Gary, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Dale.